All right, everybody, it's playoff time. The playoffs start tonight. Welcome to the JT Puck Talk podcast. It is our playoff preview. As always, I'm Justin alongside Thomas. And today we're just going to go through really quickly a little bit of a preview of each of the 8 series, who we predict is going to win and why they're going to win. So we're not going to make a big spiel out of it. We're not going to do a big intro. Let's just jump straight into it. We're going to start off with the Eastern Conference and the big matchup in the Eastern Conference we'll get to. We're going to start with the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Columbus Blue Jackets. Thomas, who do you have and why?
I have the Tampa Bay Lightning advancing on to round two.
Shocking.
I just think Tampa Bay is, a cup contender. Obviously, they had an historic season, 62 wins, and I said previously, like 2 weeks ago, when Columbus, Carolina, and Montreal were battling for that last wildcard spot, I previously said that Columbus is the one team that will give Tampa Bay the toughest time in the first round. I don't think this is going to be a whitewash of a series. I think it's going to go to 6, but the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to prevail.
I think also that Columbus would have given will be giving Tampa a tougher test than both Carolina and Montreal would have given them, just because I think Columbus kind of stacks up better against Tampa Bay. However, Tampa Bay is too elite. They're too good. Columbus has never really found their groove or their chemistry since the Duchesne and Dzingel and those trades that went on around the trade deadline. They never really found their groove, and I don't see it getting fixed drastically between the last game of the season and the first game of the series. And anything that your team is not firing at 100%, Tampa Bay is going to take advantage of. I have Tampa winning in 5. I think Bobrovsky steals the game. That's about as far as it gets. I just don't see Tampa Bay faltering any more than maybe one game to Columbus. I think they're going to take care of Columbus in quick fashion, move on to the next round, and wait for their opponent. Personally, if we go down, we're going to go in the order of the NHL bracket on NHL.com. I'm sure anybody watching has already filled out their bracket and already knows the order which it's laid out on the bracket. And obviously, feel free to comment and send us what your bracket looks like and all that. But the next series is the series that we're going to be paying the most attention to, and that's the Boston Bruins playing the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm going to go first this time because why not? There's bias here. Let's not be crazy. There's bias. I have Toronto in 6. I think Boston is not as good as they were last year. They don't have Rick Nash. Sure, they have Coyle and they have Johansson, but I think that's it. The Leafs have a better Mitch Marner, much better. We have John Tavares. We have Jake Muzzin. We hopefully will have Nazem Kadri not get suspended for 3 games. However, I do like his physical play, so we'll see how that goes. I think they've learned from last year. I think they're really out to prove themselves. They're angry about last year. A lot of these players went here when the Boston Bruins came and beat us in Game 7 in 2013. They were basically all here last year. They're still angry about that. They're going to come out with passion and with fire, and I think ultimately they're going to come out on top. Thomas?
Yeah, I agree as well. And I'm only taking the Leafs in the series just because I'm going to keep taking them until they actually win the series. So that's the only reason why I'm taking them.
Well, that's the same for me, but I wasn't going to say it.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I'm taking them. Because I'm one year I won't take them, and they're actually going to win the series. So that's why I'm taking them.
Exactly. The Washington Capitals and the Carolina Hurricanes, the red versus red series. Thomas, who do you have prevailing?
Yeah, I saw in your article that you took, I won't mention the team, but you took
The surprising one.
Yeah, and I'm going to take the other one that's the favorite. I'm going to take the Capitals in 5 games. I know the injury of Michael Kempny is a huge injury because he was playing top-line minutes with John Carlson, but I just think the Capitals are too good to get beat out in round 1, and they just have more experience than the Carolina Hurricanes at this time of the year.
Yep. And basically, I did pick the Carolina Hurricanes, and I wrote an article about it. And my reasoning for it's pretty simple. Each year, I'd like to pick an upset. I like to pick one upset in the first round. A 2v3 isn't an upset. Toronto beating Boston or a Winnipeg St. Louis series or a San Jose Vegas series, those aren't upsets. Those are really close series. I'm talking like a 1v wild card type of situation, and this was the one I was like, I can see this happening. Is it going to happen? Probably not. Like 95% chance it's not going to happen. However, my theory is Washington's very concerned about beating Tampa and Pittsburgh. So they may overlook Carolina a little bit. Carolina coming off their first playoff clinching game, or bad way to word it, first time they've made the playoffs in 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have some energy. That building's going to be rocking. They're not used to that building rocking all the time. They're going to have a building rocking. Um, I think that they have one of the only guys in the NHL, Michael Furlan, who can go toe-to-toe with Tom Wilson. And Tom Wilson's going to create a lot of problems for a lot of teams. It's going to go 7. It's going to go the distance. Carolina's not going to walk over them, but I could see it going to Game 7 and Carolina coming out on top, personally. Islanders, Pittsburgh. Who do you have, Thomas?
I have the underdog in this series accordingly to the standings. I have the Pittsburgh Penguins in 6 games. I think that Pittsburgh has just too much experience on the Islanders. But the Islanders are a good team, and they have some players who have made the playoffs before. But just with their younger guys and their goaltending tandem, who's virtually never played playoffs ever, I just think Pittsburgh has too much to handle for the Islanders. But Islanders have the best defensive team in the NHL, which is going to give Pittsburgh a really tough time. I just think Pittsburgh wins, though, in 6.
You see, this is where I don't see it as a upset. I don't see Pittsburgh beating Islanders as like an underdog upset story. I also think Pittsburgh's going to win. No team in the playoffs has more playoff experience than Pittsburgh Penguins. They've won like 2 of the last 3 Stanley Cups. They're always lethal in the playoffs. Matt Murray can perform in the playoffs. Crosby's a gamer. Malkin's a gamer. The Islanders, like you said, great defensively. I think they're gonna go to 6.
Yeah, that's same. Yeah.
I think they're gonna win a couple games because they're gonna shut them down defensively. But Matt Murray's as good of a goalie in the playoffs as they come. We don't know how Robin Lehner is in the playoffs, and I just can't see the Islanders beating the Penguins in a 7-game series. I can't do it. Home ice advantage helps. I wouldn't be surprised if the Islanders won Game 1 and the Penguins had to get woken up a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the Eastern Conference in the second round, we got the Lightning versus the Leafs. And I have Carolina versus Pittsburgh. Thomas has Washington versus Pittsburgh. We're not going to move past the second round today. We'll get to that later on.
When it comes, yeah.
When it comes. Moving over to the Western Conference, we're going to start at the top with the Calgary Flames versus the Colorado Avalanche. Now, I have Calgary. However, within my friends and my at my school and a lot of the people I'm doing brackets with, this was the popular first round upset because of the goaltending, as we've stated multiple times on this podcast. Can you trust David Riddick or Mike Smith against Nathan McKinnon and Mikko Rantanen flying down the ice at you? It's tough. However, I think ultimately Calgary has the better team all around. They got way more depth at forward. They got a better defensive core. The goaltending might be in Colorado's favor, but that's about it. I say 5 games, Calgary. I could see it going 6, even 7, even though I still see Calgary coming out on top.
Yeah, I have Calgary moving on to the second round as well. But yeah, like you said, Colorado could easily upset Calgary with just that one line of McKinnon, Rantanen, and he's going to be back in Game 1, and Gabriel Landeskog. Yeah, so I have the Flames in 6.
Okay. So 2 losses to the goaltending of Calgary, but I have 1. I could see it going 6 as well. Moving on, this is the closest series in the West. The San Jose Sharks versus the Vegas Golden Knights, in my opinion at least. The closest series in the West. Thomas, who do you like?
Okay, well, I know the San Jose Sharks have been struggling going into the playoffs, but I have the Sharks in 7 in this one. I just think that you don't acquire a guy like Erik Karlsson and Gustav Nyquist just to make the playoffs. You're acquiring those 2 guys to win the Stanley Cup, and it's probably the last year that Joe Thornton's going to have a chance, and Joe Pavelski's having a great chance of winning the Stanley Cup. So I think the Sharks win in 7.
I also have the Sharks in 7. My reasoning behind it is Martin Jones is not a playoff rookie. He's a playoff veteran. He's made the finals before. He's been to this rodeo a couple times. He had a bad regular season. There's no doubting it. He had a save percentage under 900. It's not a good regular season for him. But all those numbers kind of get washed away in the playoffs. You're starting from 0.
Yep.
Build your own thing. I think a lot of it could be mentally. He's looking at his save percentage. He's upset by it. Right now, his save percentage is nothing. So is every other goalie in the league. Nothing. It's playoffs. It's a brand new season. Fresh start for Martin Jones could be the turnaround for him. Like you said, Erik Karlsson, Gustav Nyquist, they have a lot of good guys who really want to win the cup. Evander Kane, Joe Thornton.
Yeah,
There's a lot of good stories there. Sometimes stories help your team prevail. I have San Jose in 7 as well. Even though Marc-Andre Fleury is probably one of the best, maybe the best goalie in the playoffs, you can never count Marc-Andre Fleury out of a playoff series. So that would be my biggest fear if I was a San Jose Sharks fan.
Yep.
Anyway, the final two series, Nashville and Dallas. This, even though on the statistical advantage, Dallas almost beats, you know, Nashville in every category. But this is the one series I have being a sweep, and it's Nashville in 4. Thomas?
Wow. Okay. Well, I put like I didn't. It was a toss up between 5 games and 6 games for the Nashville Predators, as I'm going to take them. But I can see Dallas stealing a game or two maybe from Nashville just because of the
Yep.
offense and the defensive game they always play.
Oh, for
Jim
sure.
Montgomery is doing a great job, and Nashville has the league worst power play. Like they have the worst power play in the league, and I think that power play has to wake up in order for them to go to the finals.
Yeah, for sure. Their power play right now is clicking at like 12.9%. It's not great.
It's not good at all.
It's not good at all. I'm not great. It's kind of being like sugarcoating it. So, no, they need to figure that out if they're going to beat the Dallas Stars or any team in the playoffs. But they're a playoff team. This team's built for the playoffs.
And they have experience.
And they got experience, exactly.
They've been to the dance before, so. Well, that's a nice notification.
That's a nice text notification from my group chat. Thank you. Thank you for that. Anyway, the final series in the Western Conference, another very close one. It's the Winnipeg Jets versus the St. Louis Blues. A lot of people are picking the Blues. I understand 100% why you're picking the Blues. I'm not one of those people. I'm picking the Winnipeg Jets. I just think that Winnipeg and Nashville is a series that's destined to happen. Not much about it more than that. St. Louis has had as good of a second half in the NHL as I've seen in my entire life. Like, they were out of it in November. And they stormed back and made the playoffs and almost took home ice advantage away from Winnipeg. Winnipeg is destined, I think, this year to make a long run. They're heartbroken from what happened last year in the finals against Vegas. And I just see them taking care of St. Louis. There's not a lot of reasoning behind this one. There's not a lot of points I have for this one. I just going with my gut. What do you think?
Yeah, this is a coin flip and a half for me. Like any team can make it through just based on the fact of their late stretches, the St. Louis hot stretch, the Winnipeg cold stretch. I'm gonna take the Winnipeg Jets in 6 or 7 games, just on the fact
I have them in 5.
They have been here before, and that's not like a good excuse. But I think the Winnipeg Jets, some of their players have to realize, like especially Patrick Laine, he had a tough season. Even though he scored 30 goals, and 30 goals is considered a tough season for Patrick Laine, I think he has to realize he's got to wake up against the Blues because the Blues are a very, very good team, and they have a very hot goalie right now.
Patrick Laine scored 50 points in 82 games.
Okay, no chirping, all right?
Why not? Why not?
Well, I think Patrick Laine is going to wake up in the playoffs. I think that Mark Scheifele, Kyle Connor are going to tell him to wake up because Kyle Connor had more goals than him, and he could easily get more money than Patrick Laine right now just based on his play. And he's on the first line, and Patrick Laine is not anymore. I see the Jets going through, and I see them battling with Nashville, and we'll kind of preview that in the next round. So,
yep, I 100% agree. So in the Western Conference, Thomas and I are identical. We have the Calgary Flames playing the San Jose Sharks, and we have the Nashville Predators playing the Winnipeg Jets. All great series. The only difference in the entire predictions, we didn't plan these predictions, by the way. We just made our own brackets. We just made our own brackets. I wrote an article. Maybe I'll put the link in the bio. And
you can send it,
yeah, and that's the only reason Thomas knew that I was picking Carolina, because I've done my Eastern Conference one. I'm in the midst of writing the Western Conference preview. I'll also put that article in the bio.
Well, this was kind of a teaser to that article,
yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I'll go into deeper detail and about why I think these teams are going to win. Obviously, sitting here, I'm like, Winnipeg's going to win off my gut, but I got to give reasonings and I got to give numbers. So I'll have those in. The Eastern Conference was done yesterday, so Thomas had a chance to read it. You always going to pick Carolina. That was the only difference we had.
Yep.
Do I really believe Carolina's going to win? It's tough to say. I hope they do. I love to see them in the second round, but it's tough to beat Washington. It's really going to be tough to beat Washington. Upset picks I take don't usually happen. Usually I pick an upset take and someone else gets upsetted.
Yeah.
So that's how it is. You got to take. I like taking an upset pick because you cheer for the underdog sometimes. Like I said, San Jose and Vegas, even Winnipeg, St. Louis, even the Islanders, Pittsburgh isn't that big of an upset. And Toronto, Boston's not an upset. I feel like those are all too close. It's got to be like a 1v wild card series that's an upset. And can't see Columbus being Tampa. Can't see Colorado being Calgary. Can't see Dallas being Nashville. Can't really see Carolina being Washington, but I can see it more than the other three, and that's kind of my whole basis around it. So that's me. You listen to a guy who's literally taking picks off of hunches. Anyway, that's our preview of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. First round is going to be exciting. It all kicks off tonight. I believe it's Tampa, Columbus, the first game tonight.
Yep, then Pittsburgh Islanders, Blues, Jets, Dallas, Nashville, and Vegas, San Jose.
Yep, 5 games tonight, 3 tomorrow. No matter what team you cheer for, whether they're in the playoffs or maybe they're in the New Jersey Devils and you just won the draft lottery. By the way, New Jersey gets 1, Rangers get 2, Chicago gets 3, Ottawa. Turns out it wasn't a terrible move to pick Tkachuk as their pick. Colorado's now falls to 4. Just so you guys know, I'm sure you all knew. And then after that, it just kind of follows in the order.
Yeah, the Los Angeles Kings got bumped down to 5. The Detroit Red Wings got bumped down to 6. So the draft lottery, I didn't actually watch it last night, but I heard it was pretty intense. Chicago moved up 12 or 11 spots or something like that. So, good on the New Jersey Devils for winning the lottery for 2 years and 3 years. And I think that's a good pick for them as Jack Hughes is a center and they already have Nico Hischier. And then that gives a reasoning of why Taylor Hall needs to stay there because Jack Hughes is going to be there in town next year.
So if you're one of those teams, congrats on the high pick. Enjoy the playoffs. If you're one of the teams in the playoffs, best of luck to your team. But watch all the games. I'm a Leafs fan. I watch all the series. It's great hockey, no matter what. It's physical. It's fast-paced. It's exciting. Nothing's better than playoff hockey. Leafs don't start till tomorrow, but I'm excited for tonight.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Playoff hockey, man.
Excuse me. I apologize for that.
You're just getting choked up about playoff hockey.
It is. It's tearing me up, guys. Like it's beautiful. The game's beautiful. Anyway, thank you all for listening to the JT Puck Talk podcast playoff preview edition. Tell us if you agree. If you don't agree with our picks, tell us your picks. Take a screenshot of your bracket. Send it in. We'd love to see it in the comment section. And enjoy the playoffs. And we will see you guys next week when these series have all been played a couple games and all of our picks could be gone to crap. Who knows?
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, we'll see you next time.